there's 260 million people in Indonesia, and about $1 billion of beer sold every year. In Bangkok, when we started, we went from funding the company to selling our first beer in 4 months.
Sweet.
In Indonesia, 2 years.
Can you talk about a little bit taxes? And
How much time you got? I could write a book about that.
When I called him up and told him that we were going to get Anderson Valley into Indonesia, he said, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say, it's not going to happen. And so when I was able to call him back up and say, guess what, we're actually going to ship some beer to Indonesia, he still was like, well, we're going to ship it, make sure you get the money up front.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Lydia right out here, and I have a very special guest here today. A business owner here in Bali, Indonesia. The guy who runs a craft beer distribution company, Grieser. He runs a Beervana, and we have owner of the Anderson Valley Brewing company is Trey White. Yeah, guys, please tell me what's going on and like how's the beer going here?
Yeah, first, cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
So I'm the owner and co-founder of Beervana. We're a distribution company that focuses 100% on craft beer. So I grew up in the American Pacific Northwest, which in a little valley called the Willamette Valley.
Right.
And the Willamette Valley happens to be this magical little place where a huge volume of hops are grown. The biggest production in North America, actually. And it also happens to be the place where the craft beer revolution really began, because these new hops, these modern craft beer type hops, it's really where a lot of them were cultivated. And so I didn't know it at the time, but I actually grew up in the nucleus of the craft beer revolution, like right when it was getting started. And so like when I was growing up, basically craft beer is just what you drank. I never thought of it as anything special. Until I moved away and went to college in Boston, and I was like, dude, where's a good beer? Like, what's wrong with your beer? And after that, I moved to Germany for a year. And I was in Germany like, dude, y'all's beer sucks. Which was a lot of fun. So, yeah, always good to be a little controversial. But yeah, so started Beervana like 6 years ago, based in Bangkok. And just really, I was working in another job, a professional job, and had always grown up drinking great beer and brewing beer, and just saw like there was no craft beer in the market. So it was just like, man, there's got to be an opportunity for craft beer here. And so I quit my job, and started Beervana in 2012, and we basically were the first people to bring craft beer to Thailand. The first IPAs ever in Thailand we brought in. It was really incredible to watch it happen, and over the last 6 years, it really grew up to be the most vibrant craft beer scene in Southeast Asia, I think. Thailand has an incredible craft beer scene right now, and it's been such a privilege to be right in the middle of it all as it's kind of grown up. So, super exciting. And then Indonesia happened because, basically, my wife is actually from here originally. We met like 17 years ago in college in Boston, but she's originally from here. So I kept traveling back and forth between Bangkok and Jakarta, and was like, there's such an opportunity in Indonesia. Like, there's like basically less than 60 types of beer available in the whole country when I first arrived. So we're just like, at my company in Bangkok, our office in Bangkok, we sold 547 different types of beer last year. So wow. You think about 60 for the whole country, like we have more than that in our warehouse, So it was just like, you saw a huge opportunity. So we started working on it, and we launched operations about 2 years ago. Started in Jakarta because it's a harder market to tap into, and now the company is actually pushing into Bali and starting to really serve this market, and we're finding a fantastic reception. So yeah, it's just kind of our lives.
Most of the customers are foreigners, right?
No,
not at all.
Actually, mostly local.
Okay.
Which is the amazing thing. So, like say in Thailand, when we started off in Thailand, we were about 90% foreigner, 10% Thai people. 6 years later, today, we're about 85% Thai, 15% foreign.
Wow.
It's a full-on thing. That's why, like, when we started off, we were like, ignore white people, focus on local people, just do trainings in the local language, like do activities, like just get people involved in it, and eventually we'll build the market. And so we did that in Thailand successfully, and now I think we're doing it here. I don't know if you've been to Jakarta.
Yeah, I actually didn't like that much city. It's super busy. I got, yeah,
23 million people in
I
that
know,
city,
yeah.
you know? Yeah.
But it's a great market, I would say. But
Great.
also, I
Yeah.
know Indonesia, it's Muslim country, and in some of the islands, drinking alcohol is illegal, right? How do you guys are?
Yeah, you know, our biggest thing is to respect the local cultures that we come into, you know?
Of course,
So
yeah.
not trying to do anything bad, not trying to, you know, convert any people into like becoming alcoholic or something, you know what I mean? Like it isn't about that. We're essentially, we think that there's already a demand in the market for better beer. And those people who already want it, we're trying to get it to them, you know? So it's quite easy. So overall, if you look at alcohol consumption in Indonesia, it's actually quite low on a per capita basis, right? There's 260 million people in Indonesia, and about $1 billion of beer sold every year. Compare that to Thailand, it's 60 million people, so like a quarter of the population, and they sell $6 billion worth of beer. So that's a 30. So the Thailand beer market is 30 times bigger, right?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that people in the country don't necessarily drink very much. It's mostly in Jakarta and Bali.
Okay.
So the bulk of the beer market is in these two places, which is actually really good for us because it's something easy for us to reach, and the consumers tend to be very cosmopolitan and very open. So it's actually really good. So in those places, it's not a big deal. We will never sell in Banda Aceh. We'll never sell in Aceh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no interest in doing that. You know what I mean? Like we're not trying to disturb or disrupt anything. It's all about just serving a need of people in the market already. So, yeah. Yeah.
So the craft beer scene is increasing in here. Like you guys doing a great job bringing such an awesome beer here.
Thanks.
Improving like you educating people, local people, what is a craft beer and how it's supposed to taste like. That's great. Trey, question for you. You here on a holiday, correct? Or like it's business or like?
I would say it's 80-90% business.
Okay.
What happened was our brewery's been around for about 30 plus years. So it's one of the pioneering breweries in the United States. You know, the craft brewery movement in the United States really started to blossom in the mid 1980s. So it's been almost 40 years now. And I had been in the beer business, but we bought the brewery about 9 years ago, a couple of years before Aaron started his business. And in my previous career, I had spent a lot of time doing international business stuff, in particular with beer. And so one of the visions we had when we bought Anderson Valley was to try to expand the horizons for the Anderson Valley brand internationally. And literally what happened in Aaron's case, who was with you? Do you remember?
A guy from the first company I ever started, one of my friends from my hometown.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Aaron and one of his friends came to the brewery in California. We're about 2 hours north of the Golden Gate Bridge there in Northern California. My brewmaster, Fal Allen, had spent about 5 years working in the craft beer market in Singapore, so he had a familiarity with Asia as well. And we were not really exporting into Asia, except for a little bit of business there in Singapore. And Aaron came in kind of full of piss and vinegar, talking a big game about how from scratch, this, you know, we weren't even a kid then, but, you know, this guy thought he was going to be able to start a American craft beer importing company in Southeast Asia. And, you know, Fal and I thought that was an unlikely thing to work. We were like, why not? You know,
they were looking at me like, is this kid crazy? Yeah. Does he know what he's getting into?
So but at the time it was just Thailand, and so you know we gave Aaron a shot, and as he was describing, he's been able to grow it from not just Thailand but also to Vietnam and now Indonesia. One of the cool things about the last 9 years for me has been the opportunity to travel many places across the world and see the evolution of people in Moscow, people in Amsterdam, people in Paris, people in Seoul, Korea, Jakarta,
Rio.
Haven't made it to Rio yet, although that would be a good idea, I think.
Yeah.
People in Bangkok, Ho Chi Minh City now, and now Bali, who are enjoying craft beer. And one of the things I see time after time is, much like in the United States 25 or 30 years ago, when the idea of drinking a hoppy beer was quite foreign to them, relative to the macro lagers and so forth. it's very consistent throughout the world. Doesn't matter if it's Southeast Asia or Eastern Europe. There is a desire for the better beer. And, kind of getting back to your question about, changing mores and cultures, one of the great things about craft beer is not about more. It's about better. It's about quality over quantity. And that's one of the things, there tends to be, a tremendous respect for the environment, from on the part of the craft brewers. And I think it really fits into what, a lot of, especially young people throughout the world are trying to embrace in terms of not more, but better. Be it for food, be it for beverages, be it for alcoholic beverage, be it for other beverages. And so that's how I'm sitting here today. I had the opportunity a few years ago to visit them in Bangkok and visit South Korea, visit Singapore. This is my first trip to see Ho Chi Minh City and Jakarta and Bali. And but I see, as I said, I see a lot of commonalities in terms of how things are developing. The thing is, and Aaron knows this better than anybody, the laws and regulations differ by country, okay, and they can differ very, very significantly. And so one of his primary skill sets and the people at Beervana is to sort out, okay, how to best attack an opportunity given those differences. And some of the differences, make their job a little bit easier, some of them a little bit harder. But in the U.S. we have state laws that can be a bit challenging at times as well. But my job as a brewery owner from the United States is to try to understand those challenges as well as we can to potentially adapt what we are doing, be it in terms of the styles of beer we're making, to best suit.
If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in next episode.